Hi class, so today we're talking about Turner syndrome. What is Turner syndrome, you might ask? I'm glad that you did. It is defined in an article I found by the New England Journal of Medicine as a disorder in females characterized by the absence of all or part of a normal second sex chromosome, which leads to a constellation of physical findings that often includes congenital lymphedema, short stature, and gonadal dysgenesis. Turner syndrome, which was named by Henry Turner in 1938, occurs in 1 out of every 2,500 to 3,000 live-born girls, and only in girls, no males. Approximately half have monosomy X, which means the 45th chromosome only carries one X chromosome, where there should be two. Now, let's define some of those big terms that I just spouted out. First, we have congenital lymphedema, which is a condition present at birth in which excess fluid called lymph collects in tissues and causes swelling, edema, in the tissues. Now, congenital lymphedema is due to a congenital malformation, which is a birth defect of the lymphatic system. Short stature should be pretty explanatory, but just in case you don't know, it means that the girls who have Turner syndrome are shorties. And it's important to note this because their short stature is derived not from familial traits. It's a very big thing. Now, next I believe was gonadal dysgenesis. That simply is a term for saying that the gonads didn't form correctly in the individual. This also occurs in cases of hermaphroditism, but that's not actually relevant to today's discussion. I just thought it might help you remember that term. Another thing to remember about a girl with Turner's is that they are born with no ovaries, meaning they are infertile. Ta-da! Now, how does Turner syndrome get diagnosed? So glad that you're asking these questions. Fabulous. In some cases of Turner syndrome, the affected fetuses will abort spontaneously. And let's see, 1/5 to 1/3 of affected girls will receive a diagnosis as newborns due to puffy hands and feet, bam, and redundant nuchal skin, which is excess skin around the neck area. Let's see. Approximately 1/3 of girls with Turner syndrome receive the diagnosis in mid-childhood on an investigation of short stature. With the exception of familial short stature or constitutional delay, Turner syndrome is the most common cause of short stature in otherwise healthy girls. In most patients with Turner syndrome, the condition is diagnosed either in adolescence when they fail to enter puberty or in adulthood because of recurrent pregnancy loss. The diagnosis should be excluded in any teenage girl with primary or secondary amenorrhea, which is the absence of menstruation, especially if she is short. Sorry, ladies, if you're short, you just had a terrible time. Terrible, terrible time. Now, does Turner syndrome affect mental health or cognition? Not really. Most people with Turner syndrome have normal intelligence. There's about 10% of patients who will have substantial developmental delays, need special education, and require ongoing assistance in adult life. Approximately 70% of patients with Turner syndrome have learning disabilities affecting the nonverbal, perceptual, motor, and visual and spatial skills. Younger patients will have impaired peer relationships and anxiety and may be preoccupied with keeping things in order and inflexible regarding their routine, inflexible regarding any changes in that routine. Girls with TS generally have relatively poor self-esteem, particularly in the social arena, as compared with both girls with short stature from other causes and girls with normal height. Let's see. During adolescence, immaturity, social isolation, and anxiety are common. Women with Turner syndrome may misread social cues, facial expressions, and body language, contributing to awkwardness in social interactions. Special training in recognizing social cues may be very helpful for these women. Now, are there any health risks involved with Turner syndrome? Well, yes. Yes, there are. According to that same article by the New England Journal of Medicine, the prevalence of congenital heart disease among patients with Turner syndrome ranges from 17 to 45%. They also stated that death from cardiac causes is a serious concern when dealing with Turner syndrome patients. Another article written by M. Hulcrantz stated that ear and hearing problems are common with TS. And I'm going to have all of these references down in the bottom area, so if you need them, they'll be there. Lastly, not leastly, of course, how does Turner syndrome affect social skills? We already talked a little bit about that with the impaired peer relations and the missing facial cues and those things. Another article I found called Social Skills in Women with Turner Syndrome states that at the beginning of adolescence, Turner syndrome girls tend towards social withdrawing, having few activities and few social relationships. At adult age, their social life is limited. In some studies, parents will even say that their Turner syndrome girls, they see them as being socially less competent, which means they have fewer friends and less time spent with friends when compared to the non-Turner syndrome girls. The question that I would pose to the class is, do you think Turner syndrome girls have impaired social skills because of the Turner syndrome, or do you feel that it is because of possibly the environment that has erupted around the Turner syndrome? They have physical abnormalities, and that is always a big deal, especially with mid-childhood to adolescent girls. So I'd love to hear some more thoughts on the subject. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Email me, text me, tweet me, call me, beat me, whatever. And I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Goodbye.